So the guy senses it that this guy's an Indian, he says, sorry, it's very busy, no time. Number 2, sorry, very busy, no time. Number 3, sorry, Number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I was persistent. I had the patience and the perseverance, I wanted to practice a bit of Afrikaans. So I must find a customer. So the number 13th was my lucky number. Usually it's the unlucky number. For Westerner, 13 is a very unlucky number. You know that. On our airways, there is no row number 13 on any of our planes. If you don't know, next time you travel on the plane, check up. There's 12, 14, 15, 16, there's no 13 row in any South African airway planes. You didn't know that? They're so superstitious. Blocks of flats, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, or 12A. There's no 13, 12A. There's 13 is an unlucky number, and Friday the 13th is double bad luck. You see? So number 13 happened to be my lucky number, and according to appointed time, a Saturday afternoon, I went to meet this Dominee van Heerden of the DRC. He met me on the veranda, and he sought permission, if I didn't mind, he said, to have his father-in-law along in the discussion. Oh, I says, not at all. So he took me into his library, and I began with the question. I said, Dominee, what does the Bible say about Muhammad? And without any hesitation, he said, nothing. I said, why nothing? Does not the Bible speak about the rise of Soviet Russia? He said, yes. About the coming into being of the State of Israel? He said, yes. And about the Pope, the beast 666? He said, yes. Then I said, what does it say about Muhammad? He says, nothing. I said, surely it must have something to say about this mighty messenger of God who made it possible for 700 million people to believe in Jesus Christ. So the Afrikaner, his father-in-law from the Free State, he said, my boy, I didn't have my beard then, you see. So he said, my boy, he said, I have been reading the Bible for the past 50 years. If there was any mention about Muhammad, I would have known it. So I said, are there not hundreds of prophecies in the Old Testament regarding the coming of Jesus Christ? So the Dominee said, not 100 but thousands. I said, look, I'm not here to dispute a single one of those 1,000 that you're talking about. But can you show me one place out of the 1,000 prophecies in the Old Testament about the coming of Christ? Show me one place where it says that the name of Christ is a title, it's not a name. When Hazrat Isa alayhi salam was born, Jesus Christ, when he was born, he was not named Christ, he was named Jesus, according to the Bible. Actually, Esau in Hebrew, Isa in Arabic, Isis in Afrikaans, that's nearer to Arabic and Hebrew. They have Latinized it by adding a J, but we won't go into that. In the Gospel of St. Luke, we are told, it says, when he was 8 days old, he was circumcised and named Jesus by the angel when he was in his mother's womb. What was he named? Jesus. So the word Christ is a title, it's not a name. He was named Jesus, not Christ. So the prophecies are about the coming of a Messiah, translated Christ. But I said, is there a single place where he is mentioned by name? That the name of this Christ who is going to come, his name will be Jesus. That his mother's name will be Mary. His supposed father will be Joseph the carpenter. That will be born in the reign of Herod the king, in Bethlehem, and so on. Is there any such details? He says, no. Then he says, how do you know that those 1,000 prophecies refer to Jesus? He says, you see, you have to reason. You have to deduce. You have to infer. I said, what you're actually doing is you're adding 2 plus 2. Adding 2 and 2 together to get your answer. He said, yes. You are reasoning. He said, yes. So I said, look, why shouldn't we do the very same thing about Muhammad? In 1,000 prophecies, you don't find a single place where the man is mentioned by name, and yet you say those 1,000 refers to Jesus without name. Why do you expect me to show you in your Bible Muhammad spelled out M-U-H-U-M-M-E-D? Why do you ask me? Why do you demand from me that? At that time, I didn't know. My knowledge was limited. I didn't know that Muhammad is mentioned by name. Wallah is there by name, but it is in the original. You see, in the Song of Solomon, in the Bible, in Hebrew, chapter 5, verse 16. Chapter 5, verse 16. In Hebrew, that is supposed to be the original language of the Old Testament. This is what it reads. Sehikko mamitakim vi kullo Muhammadim zehdudi vi zehra'i bainat Jerusalem. Muhammadim, im is a plural of respect in Hebrew. You take that out, is Muhammad. Muhammadim is there in Hebrew. But they translated it into English as altogether lovely. That my beloved is altogether lovely. Now when you say altogether lovely, you can't imagine that is Muhammad. And in Afrikaans, I was looking up the word, it's very difficult for me to pronounce. But I tell you, it's so funny, you know, the translation of that altogether lovely, that most of you can't even pronounce that Afrikaans. It's so high above your heads. You can never guess, in 1,000 years you keep on reading, uttering that phrase, you'll never know it's talking about Muhammad. But in the original, the word is Muhammadim, but I didn't know it then. So I said, you see, if we are reasoning about Christ, why shouldn't we reason about Muhammad? So he said, no, that is quite fair. So I said, please open Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 18. Now in the booklet that is given to you, when you go home, look up this verse and master this verse. Because look, the days of the professionals are over. I'm telling you, it's not the professional's job. You say, why don't the sheikh propagate Islam? Why don't the imams propagate Islam? Why doesn't ahmad deedat do this? No, no. Each and every Muslim must get involved according to your capacity. And I can't imagine that people who are responding in such great numbers to these lectures, that you're not coming here to be entertained. You want to get some knowledge that you can use. And we are giving it to you in black and white. What I'm talking to you now, it is in that book. You go home, look it up, write it on a piece of card, put it in your pocket, and memorize the verse. Memorize it. Once you memorized it, repeat it. Then every opportunity you get, practice it. As the Christians are doing on you, you do the same. We must share. They want to share the heaven with you. We are prepared to share more than that with them. You know, our curry and rice as well as heaven on the other side. They can only share heaven. Cost them nothing to give heaven to you. You know that. He is not prepared to give you a cup of tea or bhajiyas or samosas. Never. But you go to the Muslims' home, they come along and they eat our food, they eat our biryani, our samosas, our tea, and they want to make nest in our head. Now look for a change. It is about time that you start sharing something more than heaven. Heaven cost you nothing, but at least share something more than that. Your kusistas, you know, and your tea. So I'm asking the Domini, I said, please open Deuteronomy 18:18. And when he opened it, I said, look, I'm trying to learn it in Afrikaans, and if I would like you to correct me if I'm wrong. You know, my pronunciation, help me. So saying, I said, what is written there? Is profeet sal ek vir hulle verwek, uit die midde van hulle broers, soos jy is. En ek sal my woord in sy monde lê, en hy sal aan hulle sê alles wat ek hom beveel. So he says, very good. I don't know whether I was murdering it, but he said it's very good. You know, he says a good try. So I'm asking, who is that prophet? In English, it says, I will raise them up a prophet from among the brethren, like unto thee, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. To those of you who might want to listen to this in the Bible, from the Bible in Arabic. See, it's so beautiful. It's nice to know, because when you go among the Christian Arabs, I was thinking when I was young, I wanted to go to Lebanon before this trouble started. I said, I want to go and speak to the Lebanese Christians. And how much nicer if I can quote them in their mother tongue. Like the Afrikaner quote him in his mother tongue. You are bilingual, you must master this in both languages, English and Afrikaans. If you can master another language, another